Vikings Banter, we're back out here. Live and ready to go. The historic Barney's Beanery. Beautiful day.
Of course.
75 and sunny. And quickly dropping.
Very.
We'll be freezing.
We'll be freezing by the end of
minutes.
this episode.
Yeah.
100%. LJ with the Celsius. Now it's about to get real.
At
We
least
had
your
good
head will be
viewership
warm.
last show. I was excited to see
Oh,
some
yeah?
of that. Yeah, we had better
Okay.
viewership. Yeah, we love to see that.
Oh, you don't have the dead cat on yours.
What's the dead
Oh,
cat?
yeah, I don't have a dead cat.
Oh.
All right, fair enough.
Kind of going raw.
He's going raw.
Trump's America.
Raw dogging the podcast. I am so thoroughly disgusted with last week's performance when we all said, what were our predictions? You weren't here.
I was not
Me,
here.
John, and LJ were like an
I was like
average.
35, 10,
Yeah, we were an
35, 12,
average
something like
of like a 28-point beatdown, like the biggest beatdown of the season. This will be the game to get us back on track.
Also, they didn't show the pool at all on the TV.
Yeah.
I was very upset about that.
Usually they turn to the pool when they're so embarrassed of what's going on
Yeah.
the field, and they were staying competitive and beating
That's
us.
true. I don't even want to. I mean, that
It's
game was so bad. I don't even
unbelievable.
want to talk about the
That's what I'm
Vikings
saying.
this week.
Yeah,
like,
I
at
just want
all.
to skip over and just try something completely different
Yeah.
and go.
I think that's okay.
Yeah.
And in honor of the election and Veterans Day, I think we just go full NFL State of the Union.
Love it.
Should we stand and do a national? Is that what
No.
you're doing? National anthem?
I'm doing a half mass, right? Because
Are you at half mass?
Because my hat's not off.
Okay.
Not a true full mass.
Got
I thought
it.
maybe you
Flags
were
are flying though.
at half
Flags are
mass.
flying.
I stay that. I stay that.
You
Yeah.
stay half mass?
Yeah.
It's a good move. Stay ready. You don't have to get ready.
Right.
Sure.
She knows what we're talking about.
So State of the Union, where the NFL is at.
Yeah, I think
There's
we're
a
at-
lot of moving pieces. Our team has some fundamental pieces within those movements
Yes.
that we have to think about.
We will
And
be a
it's
name.
that part of the season where that's where a lot of the conversation's going.
You're starting to see teams pull away, and you're starting to see teams make coaching moves, make decisions. I mean, that whole Carolina winning last week was like a shocker to me still, too.
Carolina. Did they win?
New
I can't even
York.
remember. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, in London.
Yeah.
I completely forgot about
I know,
that.
because it was like by the time we woke up,
Yeah, and Bryce Young completed one pass and danced on the field like he
Oh
fucking
my
won
God.
a playoff game.
I like him though.
Bryce Young.
I want.
Yeah, I
Why?
like him.
Don't.
I
what
don't
are
know.
your
I don't. He's kind of fun to watch when he's good. He's got a little
It's
swag to
rare.
him.
Yeah,
He seems like I understand why he was drafted where he was because
one.
he
One.
but he has like all the franchise features that you would hope.
But
He's
he
just
hasn't
so
proved that.
little.
I get that, but he did score a touchdown.
He
Scored a touchdown against the New York Giants in London.
He's.
But when he does
stuck.
it looks good.
It's
But-
rare.
Well, I would hope that he would look decent because he's an NFL. Anybody
He's the
on the
top-
NFL,
number one pick.
He's the number one pick,
Over
and you're in
CJ
the
Stroud.
NFL. Like, what are we
Yeah.
talking about?
I'm
here?
just a believer. Yeah.
That's fine. Look, I've gotten to the point where in the draft I said he's not my top quarterback, and everybody was gung ho on him. I said CJ
You said
Stroud
CJ?
was the
Okay.
best quarterback in the draft. He went 1 overall, despite Frank Reich wanting CJ Stroud, and David Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, said draft that kid, and then he fired Frank Reich because he sucked, thinking like, oh, it's the coach's fault. So David Tepper is just the worst owner in sports. But now I've reached a point where like I don't want to be right about Bryce Young. I feel bad. Like I
Well, of
watch him and I
course.
feel bad. I'm like, geez, this kid does not look good. He looks skittish in the pocket. But that team is just a fucking mess. They
Yeah.
have no talent around him.
I
they're-
love Adam Thielen, but it is like
He
it
just
is-
got back.
it is, but it's
Yeah, it's
hilarious to me when he decided to go to Carolina and like do this whole thing. We're gonna make a run, blah blah. blah. I'm like, dude, like I don't wish you ill because you're still a Minnesota guy, you're still our guy, but like it does kind of weirdly feel good for me that they're so
when
shitty.
a guy like that thinks he's like a true,
Yeah.
true superstar.
Yeah.
No, dude, you're a great Minnesota superstar.
Mhm.
You're not like a real superstar.
Right, right.
You're just one of the guys that's really good at football.
Yeah.
And when you're from Minnesota and you get baked into a franchise, you stay there because we loved you. We'll
He
always
was a
love you.
Minnesota kid. That
But
story
that's
was
why
awesome.
It worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Right.
not going to go to Carolina and be like, well, I'm going
Well, you got-
to prove
yeah,
to people
you
that
got
I'm as good
paid.
as Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
see you never, dude.
Well, let's kind of kick this off with the NFC North, just because we have, in general, like still one of the toughest divisions in the league.
Oh, yeah.
And we also have the Packers and the Bears going up this weekend too.
Yes. Yeah,
So,
they're going head to head.
This is going to be.
Yeah, I just think the NFC in general kind of revolves around the NFC North right now, because the only juggernaut I can see in the NFC as a whole right now is the Lions. They look unbeatable.
It's really frustrating that they continue to look better.
They're so good. They just Jared Goff just threw 5 interceptions on the road in an away game against a good team.
Yeah.
And they still managed to pull off a win.
I like
that is such
Detroit
trash.
being good. It's fun to watch.
It upsets
and they're
me.
so well built.
They're very well built. They're very well coached. They're going to have both of their coordinators. This is the good part about teams coming up. They're going to lose their coaching, and that's going to take a serious hit on them, because Aaron Glenn, their defensive coordinators, could be gone, and Ben Johnson 100% is going to be gone. He's their offensive coordinator. Those are 2 big names in the head coaching carousel. So this is really like the year to get it before everything starts to change.
Sure.
But yeah, look, they threw 5 picks in a win on the road. Like, that doesn't happen. That's a game you get shellacked. And it was against the Texans, who are a good team. So yeah, they're the juggernaut. They're not gonna run the table to the playoffs, but they're both sides of the ball the best team in the NFC. If the Chiefs weren't undefeated, you could make the argument that they're the best team in the NFL right now.
Okay, so going into this season, though, like everybody was talking about San Francisco being the best team in the NFC. Where do you think things have slid? Because they still have an unbelievable amount of weapons on
their
team.
personnel is ridiculous.
Yeah.
They lost Brandon Ayuk for the season, whatever. They fucking
next man
Ricky
up.
Pearsall, who got shot in the offseason.
First touchdown, that looked great.
He's dragging tacklers. He's a big kid. Juwan Jennings has stepped up. That team is still stacked. I don't know why. It's like that Super Bowl slump where the reason teams don't make it back repeatedly. The Eagles made it and then missed out for a couple of years. Like, this is what teams do, and I do not rule them out. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFC. I think it's just that thing of like, it's so difficult to get there that you're tired, and maybe you start finger pointing, like Debo attacked his long snapper and the
wild.
kicker.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
What was that about? That was wild.
The kicker missed 3 field goals. They should have been winning that game easily. They're not doing well this season. Yeah, Debo was like, enough. Go do your fucking job. And I've heard arguments on both sides. The first argument I heard was Emmanuel Acho talking about it, and he's like, that's not how you treat a teammate. Like, you need that teammate. You go pick him up.
And Debo in particular. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
like,
Debo had that terrible Super Bowl where he had like 13 targets and like 3 catches, something like that. So he's had his moments, but
why is he that
he's
guy
one of
for
your
the
better.
kicker?
The kicker was fucking it up. Like, when you're messing up that much, somebody had to go say something. But
that's a coach.
Exactly. I mean, I guess he was mad that nobody was saying anything.
The kicker. I get it.
Yeah,
if
Richard
you're trying
Sherman
to win a Super Bowl, and you're this team this a momentum-based league, someone's got to set the fire.
Dude, Richard Sherman, former 49er, was like, no, like, I'm 100% with Debo. Like, we work too fucking hard to drive the field. We're getting beat up every play. We need these wins. It's not like we're 8-1. Like, we gotta win this game. And your fucking kicker's job is to make a kick, and you've had 3 chances and you missed all 3. Like, somebody's got to smack this dude upside the head.
Probably shouldn't choke him.
Yeah, he pushed the long snapper and like grabbed him by the throat. Yeah,
it was a lot.
I do like if he just went up to him screaming, because that's an old school Tom Brady move. Tom Brady, lose his shit on the sidelines, and everyone would be like,
"Do your fucking
that's
job."
That's called being a leader.
Yeah.
So other than putting his hands on, but I don't.
That's the problem.
I don't mind the throw,
but
he
made the game-winning kick. So
right.
Did he get fined for that?
That's like an in-house thing.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what they're gonna
that's
do.
Pretty.
I'm sure he said he apologized. Like, I think he apologized at the post-game presser. Like, said something about like, that's not how I should handle myself. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. You get emotional. This is the game, But I mean, if that was my team, I would have been so fucking mad if I saw our kicker miss 3 times that I probably would have been screaming for his head too. So I don't really know where to go with that.
So is that how it played out? So he was mad at the kicker, and then the long snapper maybe defended the kicker.
He was mad at
and then
both.
He's like, "Oh, I'm getting you."
Yeah, because it was, I don't know if the snap was bad or like they were blaming the snap or something. But yeah, that guy was defending his kicker like, this is my guy, and he got in between them, and Debo attacked. But whatever. The Niners are still very good. I wouldn't want to see them in the playoffs. They know how to win. They're still a fucking great team. CMC's back now, so they're kind of, for the first time, at full strength. They're a very good team.
CMC's not real, though, anymore, right?
Oh, he's real.
Yeah.
He had 100 yards from scrimmage his first game back, and he didn't get all the carries. He's going to be – his receiving, dude, he had this one wheel route out that he caught over a linebacker that was just like, dude, there's so few running backs who can make that play. He's so nasty.
Who are the outliers in the NFC?
So the Vikings are the tough one for me. So I have the Lions as the only juggernaut right now. The Niners, who I never count out. Philly, who, despite Nick Sirianni possibly still being on the hot seat
and being toxic as fuck,
dude, that team is a fucking mess. But they are so talented that they just
Tonight's
keep
gonna be
winning.
So interesting.
Tonight is going to be fascinating. But they're a team that could go into the playoffs with all the momentum. But if they have one slip up in the playoffs and have like an ugly exit in the first round, I still think Sirianni gets fired. I think the only thing that saves his job is like another Super Bowl appearance.
I think, yeah,
but it reminds me,
and not even appearance, like win.
I think if you go back to the Super Bowl, you can't fire your coach. Like,
right?
But
he's toxic as fuck.
But Philly did it with Doug Peterson. Like, he won the Super Bowl. The next year they fired him. Yeah, really crazy. So it depends how it ends. Because if your quarterback and your wide receiver hate your coach, at some point you got to like pick a side. You know, you can't go through another offseason with the coach just doing weird shit. Yeah, like that's the guy. They paid him. That's who they're riding with. Doing? They just don't get along. Nobody likes the coach, and he's like,
you know what? Remember last year? There's like locker room problems.
Yeah,
it's
him. Apparently, he's a problem in the locker room. Like they don't like the offense he runs. They don't like what he does. And then he's like,
I'm getting you to Super Bowl, so shut the fuck up.
But the players are doing it.
No, he's not.
Know? He got to one. He got to one. And I think he won Coach of the Year that year. He was like one of the most loving coaches in the league. But then shortly after that, apparently
shit got weird.
Yeah, and then what's it called? Fuck, I lost my train of thought.
I just think I think this league comes down way more to coaching than always talent, because you've seen it time and time again. Like well-coached teams go deep in the playoffs, and you go, oh, Bryce Young, like he sucks. It's like, no, he was never given an opportunity to. Yeah,
that team sucks.
And so you get a guy like a CJ Stroud, gets put into the right system at the right time. Boom.
Yeah.
Flames.
Yeah, magic happens. Yeah, I mean, look, Jalen Hurts is carrying that team right now. Him and Saquon. AJ Brown gets hurt a lot, but like those are the core pieces of your team. So if all the players are like, yo, we don't like coach. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. His questionable calls have been insane. They were up 2 scores and just needed a field goal to go to 3 scores, and he decided to go for 2. They didn't get it, and they stayed up 2 scores. Okay. And they're just like, what are you doing? And then, of course, they were forced to go for 2 again later. They didn't get it. They did it like 3 times. They missed it, and everyone was just like, they ended up winning that game, but they should have lost just because of the coach. It reminds me of Brandon Staley, the Chargers coach who just got fired last year.
Oh my God.
Every fucking game went for 2, and then they missed the playoffs because he wouldn't just hold the ball against the Raiders in overtime. They could have tied and gone to the playoffs, and he decided to go for a long field goal, missed it. Raiders ended up winning, and they knocked out of the playoffs. And everyone's like, why? Why do you do
And then he defended it
shit?
like really weirdly in the press conference.
And he got fired.
Yeah, they're like, bye, bro.
Yeah, so coaches get this ego of like, I've got to perform on this grand stage. I think Sirianni still gets fired, but the Eagles are a very real threat in the NFC.
What about the Rams?
The Rams suck. Rams they just got embarrassed. That was one of the most pathetic. What they did to us, they're kind of like the opposite team of us, where we're winning, but we don't look great. And they played us amazing. That looked like a great team. And then they play the Dolphins at home, and they can't do anything. They can't complete a pass. They can't run the ball. They can't play defense. Their offensive line is terrible. It was like, who the fuck are these guys?
We've been that team so many years in a row.
Yeah.
Where you're good, but like you don't tally wins. Thank God the Vikings are the team now where we look like dog shit, but we win. And it's so unique to be on that side of this, because you do know it's all about, like, the best teams in the league know.
Find a way to win.
Get to the fucking playoffs and then figure it out. And, like, have everybody healthy, have everybody ready to go.
Look at the Chiefs. Chiefs should have lost 3 games so far.
Yeah.
easy, should have lost. They lost. Isaiah Likely scored a touchdown and was ruled out by this much, or they lose the first game of the season.
Extremely lucky.
They've gotten very lucky ref penalties that are very questionable.
Yeah.
Could have lost 4 times. Bengals and Atlanta too. It's been wild.
So the Vikings are really the outliner.
The Vikings, I don't know what to make of. We're winning. The defense at most of the season has looked like the best defense in the NFL. But then sometimes we look like absolute shit, like against the Rams, where we can't get a pass rush. And you go, this team can't win a fucking playoff game. Like, I wouldn't bet against them against anybody.
It was the type of team when we played the Rams, you like don't want to go to the playoffs.
Oh, no.
You're like,
This
Yeah.
is
Lose by
embarrassing.
30 in the playoffs.
I'm gonna be
in the
crying
first
at a
round.
bar.
This is going to be a Foles-Eagles game where we're like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
the Giants.
Yeah.
Remember that? Oh,
That
God.
was
I don't
so
think we're
bad.
that team. I do think we're a team
No,
that
yeah.
hopefully, again, because KOC's been there,
Mm-hmm.
I hope that he's doing what the good teams do, which even like the Eagles do. They flounder around, but when the playoffs come, they lock in. And then they do what they need to do to get to
We got to get our offensive spark back. We have, I mean, Darnold looked as bad as it gets last week. The 3 interceptions, no
He was
touchdowns.
seeing ghosts.
Yeah, you can't be doing that shit anymore. You get another tune-up game this week against the Titans in Tennessee. Titans fucking suck. We have to get one dominant win before we start getting into our NFC North divisional games. We got to get right. So we have another chance before we start. We got Kirk coming. We got to get right so we can whoop Kirk's ass when he comes back to
Have
US Bank.
to.
You know what always happens when I see Darnold play like one of the worst? He looked like Nick Mullins out there. I thought Nick was
He
going
was
to start
terrible.
I bet he was throwing balls on the sidelines, which that's
Oh,
always
yeah,
my worst
probably.
nightmare. But when I see Darnold play that poorly, the only thing I think is, holy shit, Justin Jefferson is not going to believe in this team.
That scares the shit out of me too.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
about
like,
it all
dude,
the time.
Justin Jefferson,
Yeah.
don't.
He's gonna
don't
walk
throw
off
him
the
away
field and go,
yet.
fuck this.
And just like trade me, like figure this out.
At least he handpicked JJ McCarthy, we think,
Right.
because they followed each other before the draft and all that. So he definitely was consulted. He picked JJ McCarthy. So I know he'll come back next year without like throwing a bitch fit. Like he's under contract. He has to come back. But I think he'll be fine with like, all right, let's see how it goes with the rookie. But
JJ
yeah,
McCarthy
those
getting
games.
all these extra surgeries.
That's,
I know you're
they said it
taking
wasn't
them
a
lightly.
surgery. They retracted. They said it was an
Yeah,
injection because his
injection.
knee swole up.
I
don't like it.
Trust a thing. Sliding in mid-season surgeries
I don't
out of
like that either.
nowhere.
Well, that was the surgery that kept him out for the season. But the second thing was like, ooh,
Like
if
a
it's not
tune-up.
if it's not healing, you're 22.
Yeah.
That shit should heal.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's like into all this like natural.
Well, that scares me.
alternatives.
I hate that.
Is he
Oh, I
vegan
love
and
that.
everything?
No, but like,
for sure vegan.
no, he's not.
He's like toes in the grass,
Yeah,
whatever that's
grounding.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah.
Every game before the game, he goes and sits under the goalpost
Yeah.
and meditates.
I thought he was praying like a good Christian.
No, he's a
No,
meditator.
meditating.
Oh my
Him and
God, he's
Harbaugh
doing
were like
that?
all about
Yeah.
breathing
I
exercises.
thought
Yeah.
he's praying to Jesus. I was
No.
like, dude, that's dope.
No, he does that in
He's
private.
grounding?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Ugh,
takes his shoes off and he goes and stands on the
that
grass.
breaks my heart. Dude.
It's gonna be
I like
be
it.
interesting. Yeah.
I'm here for it.
Oh, that's tragic.
So the Vikings, I don't know what to make of. I consider us a contender, like a playoff, obviously contender. We could get there just based on defense. Like if we can back up the offense and be like an old school team that runs the ball well. Cam Akers had a lot of carries last game. He's looking good. If we can run the ball well, control the pace on defense, and then Darnold just doesn't make mistakes. Don't turn the fucking ball over. We'll be fine. You don't have to go win the game. We got other players that can help with that. I really liked T.J. Hawkinson's input. He looked
That was
great.
great.
He had a lot of touches. Addison's basically out of the offense because all of those touches are going to T.J. But I trust T.J. more, so I'm fine with it. Addison can be the deep,
Gone.
big play
Yeah.
guy. You know,
You're back on the he's
Oh,
done.
he's
He's
done.
cut. You're
He's
cutting
every
him?
other week. Every other week.
He's
every other
done.
week.
It's over.
Every other week.
You can just see him like fade to the black, and it's just like it's over.
I mean, look, there's the pieces are there still. Darnold just can't turn the ball over. You cannot turn it over 3 times.
It's
That
insane.
can't happen.
He was missing wide open touchdowns.
dude. And that's
to
a
the
bad
Jags.
bad
to the fucking
defense.
Jags.
One of the worst defenses in the NFL.
Yeah.
And you look like that.
And you made them
Get
look
it
like
together.
stars.
Yeah.
Like
No, they were,
stars.
and they had momentum. The fans were in it. I hate that. The 2 times we should have lost this game, But the game against the Rams, we let the fucking fans get in it on the road, and then we start seeing ghosts. Like, he's got to get ahead against Tennessee and get the fucking fans out of the game.
Yeah.
Atlanta is the other
Yeah.
division leader. We still consider them a pretender. They have a lot of talent,
Kirk
but
Cousins.
we know Kirk.
Yeah,
We know
good.
Kirk better than anyone. He'll fucking let you down. Maybe they win 5 games in a row, and everyone's like, "Holy shit, look at this team!" And then you lose 3, and you're like, "Oh my god, what is this team?"
Yeah, when his
So-
like dick becomes untaped or whatever, and he just loses it.
Yeah, the Cardinals are also leading their division. I don't consider them a real
No.
team. You know, the Kyler's fun, but they're not very good. And then there's the AFC. Chiefs.
Which is just the Chiefs.
No, I think
No.
the Chiefs lose this week. I think their
I do
unbeaten
too.
streak ends.
I do too.
They're going into Buffalo. Josh Allen has that whole rivalry
Yeah.
with Pat,
Patrick.
where it's like they've just had so many battles. The Bills look like a more polished team right now, even though they've lost. I think they beat the Chiefs, and then I think everybody starts talking about the Bills as a juggernaut.
Unfortunately, the rest of the AFC is dog shit.
There is no
Yeah.
possible way the Chiefs don't go to the Super Bowl. There's no possible way.
I got one team that I think has finally look. I've always hated on their quarterback, the Ravens. This is the best Lamar's ever looked. He has 2 or 3 MVPs, 2 MVPs, 3 MVPs, and one of them was in dominant fashion. He shouldn't have won last year. The first one, he had one of the most incredible statistical seasons ever. He's finally not turning the ball over. His 2 interceptions on the season.
Wow.
Like Lamar Jackson,
That's
one of the most
actually crazy.
inaccurate quarterbacks I've ever seen, is just protecting the ball. It's unbelievable. They're
He
winning.
is so much fun to watch.
Dude, he's unreal this season. Like, him and Jaden Daniels are just so much fun
That's
to
gonna
watch.
be a fun game on Sunday. The Steelers Ravens.
Oh,
too.
Steelers Ravens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I still think. Yeah, the
I think the
Ravens
Ravens
to
pull
me
that off,
with
but-
Derrick Henry,
Russell
the defense
Wilson
isn't
is
nearly as
dog.
good,
Yeah.
but
It'll
that
do.
team can score with anyone and then just run the ball and control the clock.
Right.
Their defense is suspect, but I think them in the playoffs, if they can sneak, I don't think they're going to get home field, but they're a very, very difficult team to play
And the rest
against.
of the fucking AFC is terrible. You get Bills, Chiefs.
Well, you said the
and
Steelers.
Ravens.
Steelers I don't take seriously,
I don't
even
take
though
them
they're 7 and
seriously.
2.
You cannot.
I don't
with Russell.
Yeah, they
Can,
stay
can
close.
we talk about something really quick, like
Mm.
on topic, off
That's what
topic?
podcasts are, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Talk about whatever you want.
We talk about-
Be my guest. Carte
Okay,
blanche.
so I was on Instagram the other day, and I don't follow her, but she popped up. Ciara popped up, and she was like dancing, and she was like, "I was like, you're so cool. Like, how the fuck
Yeah, how
are
can
you
deal
married
with
to
Russ?
Russell? You know, that's what I'm saying. Like, she's dope, and I'm like, I can't decide if she's not dope or if he's actually cool, and we're just
And hiding it?
No.
yeah, I don't know.
No, dude, he's a formidable afters guy. So she dated Future. She
Sure.
ran the ship. She got pregnant. He ruined her life.
Yeah,
And she crawls back in.
This
and
guy
goes,
won't hurt her.
Yes,
It's
he's
that.
I
yes,
guess.
and he probably cucks a little. He probably watches.
Oh yeah.
He like
but
I wouldn't be
she's
surprised
so
if he
cool.
plows dudes. too.
yes.
Yeah.
I think Russell Wilson is a great guy and an awesome father and a fairly good quarterback.
Well, they both took a vow of like celibacy
Yeah.
before marriage, so
yeah.
they've done some extreme changes in their lives. So they're definitely both weird. I mean, Russ is weird,
Yeah.
but
yeah.
for
But I think
years he looked
she-
like one of the
I
best
think
girl
she did that
bands.
because
Take a
she
vow of
was
celibacy
so-
after she's gone on
Exactly.
a
Sure.
Yeah.
run.
She does
Yeah.
not want to bang you.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that was for her purity.
yeah.
He
Well,
already
yeah.
he never had sex probably in his life before that.
Yeah, he's a
He
bitch.
was married.
Huh?
He was married.
Was he married
before
before?
her?
Yeah. Hello.
With who?
His wife cheated with
Oh, that's right. There
some
was
of
that
his
whole
teammates.
thing.
at Seattle.
That's right. There was
Yeah.
a whole issue
That's why
in
he-
Seattle with Doug
Yes.
Baldwin
Yeah.
and Earl Thomas. Like
And Golden
everybody
Tate.
hated it. Golden Tate.
Golden
That's who
Tate,
it was.
yeah.
It was Golden Tate.
Yeah.
Was the shit talker.
Remember,
one of the
don't you remember
coolest players.
I remember now.
his draft picture. She's got one of the most iconic things. So she's like, doing this like horrendous laugh, like ha ha ha, like I just hit the jackpot type situation when he got
Golden
drafted.
Tate.
That's right.
And
We gotta get him
uh,
on the pod. He was on the Lions too.
yeah,
He
Notre Dame.
front
He lives in
flipped.
Orange County.
He front or back flipped into our player. What a dick. That was the cool. He's so cool.
so Russell Wilson got cheated on,
Yeah.
and then he had to clean up.
And then she made him take a vows.
and now he raises future as kid.
Well, you know what
which
that
I
means.
love
He
that.
just swings horrible dick.
No.
He's getting cheated on, and this one doesn't even want to sleep with him?
Well, they've got 4 other kids now.
Who's?
Oh shit. No, they look
No,
just
yeah.
like him. They look just fucking like him. So
Unlimited. That's one of the most annoying things any human has ever said. Unlimited. I could stab him to death hearing that.
well, wait, no, it
Was
was
that the
worse
Subway
at
commercial? What are
Denver.
you talking about?
No,
No.
he did a whole thing talking in the camera when he was like, the camera's like up here. He's like doing this thing, and he's like, every year I come up with like a new saying, and I
Yeah.
think this year it's unlimited. Yeah. Like,
What did
I'm
he say when he was on the
unlimited. And he
Broncos?
kept doing it, and you're like, dude, shut up. And
Because
he's
he
like,
wants to be cool so fucking bad.
and it was like his catch
so
tag of the
bad.
year was like, I'm unlimited.
got a lot of Kirk Cousins
and
in
you're
him.
just like, dude, do you have Asperger's? Like, shut
What did
the
he
fuck
say in
up.
Denver? Let's
Let
ride.
him- yeah, hey, Denver, let's ride.
Let's
And
ride.
then-
He'd always, after every press conference, he'd be like, "Let's ride." Like,
And the
shut the fuck
fucking
up.
players hated it.
And like, you guys are losing so bad, and like everything you do, like, let's
They
ride.
couldn't
Like,
get
where?
him out.
Ride
They
where?
couldn't wait.
Ride where?
They're saying like, let Russ cook.
Yeah.
It was just.
But
it
when you
was
do
so
have a
many
Sierra
things.
hyping you up, you do like you think you're cooler than you are.
That's
Yeah.
true. He wants
So
to
he
be
leaves
cool
the house.
so
He was on top
bad.
of the world. This guy was fucking winning Super Bowls like he was the man.
He was on every commercial.
Oh, he was
And then
such
we
a
actually got to
likable
meet him.
big deal, and then they tanked the team and like took it from the coolest defense ever, and we're like, let's put it in Russ's hands, and just they didn't the team didn't like that Pete Carroll loved him and like whatever. Fuck them. Seattle sucks. I don't take Pittsburgh seriously because of Russ. I don't think he's got it anymore. I think the defense is very good, and they can stay in the game with anyone. I just don't think their offensive weapons outside of George Pickens are any good, and George Pickens quits on the team all the time, so I don't trust him anyway. They're out. The Texans are still a very, very good roster. Joe Mixon has been amazing. Nico Collins comes back, but Stephon Diggs is out for the season. CJ Stroud just has to look like he did rookie year rather than this sophomore slump we're watching where he's just not. I mean, he has not been good. Then there's my dark horse team. The Chargers have no talent on offense. None. They have backup players. They have receivers who can't catch, unknown players, and they keep winning. They play tight. Jim Harbaugh just has them playing winning football. They don't turn the ball over. We've seen Justin Herbert win clutch games in the playoffs before. That's a team that I wouldn't want to see in the playoffs, and their defense is very
So
good.
that's your dark horse.
That's my dark horse for the AFC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess the Vikings would kind of be the NFC version of the Chargers, who like
Yeah.
don't turn it over on offense and play nasty defense, and we can beat anybody. Yeah, that's kind of the same thing, except we have much better personnel on offense. They have a better quarterback.
And we came out so hot. We're not a dark horse. We're a you should be in the playoffs team.
Right.
Yeah, no.
And you
I'm
should
saying
play well.
in the playoffs,
Yeah.
the dark horse of
Oh,
like
okay.
running,
Oh, sure.
making a run. Like nobody wants to see the best defense in the playoffs, and that's us and the Chargers right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, that's it for the AFC and NFC. We can go into coaching.
Let's go into coaching.
Yeah.
So the coaching carousel gets
Coaching
crazy,
carousel.
and we're right in the mix of it.
To start, the Jets have fired their coach, Robert Saleh. He's out. They have an interim. Usually interims aren't brought back, so they'll be looking for a coach. Dennis Allen, the New Orleans Saints, got
Yep.
fired. Same situation. So that's 2 vacancies right there. Dallas Cowboys, I feel bad because Mike McCarthy's daughter, a friend of the program, very sweet. Love Alex. Looking like the writing's on the wall. Mike McCarthy has no chance of succeeding this year now that Dak is out for the rest of the season. They've been abysmal. It's not his fault. Jerry Jones gave him nothing to work with, completely
Well, and
tore
they're
that
doing
team
the full
apart.
rebrand this offseason.
It's about to be a complete rebuild.
sure.
I don't know what they're going to do because they have no money.
We all know exactly what Dallas is going to do. You've been talking about it in the
I
comments.
have, but
you know that this is happening. I know that you're going washy back and forth.
yeah.
This is Prime's
Well,
show.
yeah. He can't come out because he still is under contract and he's on a team. He can't be like, hey, I'm leaving you kids. I'm going to go.
How?
But I think if
Don't
Jerry
you just
Jones
buy
calls
out
him.
and just
No.
the
If he
contract?
says, I'm going to the NFL, he's going to the NFL. I'm saying they're still in the season. So he can't
He can't do anything
mid-season
right now.
say, hey, I'm going to get out of here and go to the NFL. He's still doing that
well, because he has to get
political
Travis
thing.
Hunter as Heisman.
Travis Hunter, yeah, could get Heisman and then be a top 5 pick in the draft. he's going to control his son of where he goes. He's very clearly stated that. I believe Shador will be a Raider. But, yeah, if Jerry Jones calls Dion and says, hey, I want you to be my coach, there's no way he says no. No chance in hell. It's just we got to get there. So Dallas is an open vacancy. That's 3. Chicago, I believe Matt Eberflus will be fired. Coach Flus, that
if they
loser.
lose this week to the Packers, which I think they will, I
think they still keep him.
They keep him.
Yeah,
okay.
because they just fired.
You think if they keep him this season? Oh, they just
no,
fired
no.
offensive coordinator.
No, I'm saying another week. Yeah, I think Shane Waldron just got fired, so now it's like, okay, that's one scapegoat down. I think they'll give it a couple more weeks.
But you can't fire. Yeah, because they won't be fired after this week because division rivalry. They'll be like, all right, like that's the Packers, like blah blah blah.
It just depends how it looks. If
if you lose to the Packers, regardless of the fact they're totally going to lose and is a guarantee, it is easier on the fan base of firing them after a Packers loss, because the fan base goes, of course, because that's the biggest rivalry in the NFC North.
I know, but
so it's like we lost to the Packers when we had
it depends how it looks
and everything. I'd be like, dude, let him go.
If you get blown out by 30 and Caleb looks terrible and they bench him and it fucks his confidence
it's the perfect time.
Then he gets fired. If they play tight and they lose, it's like, okay, look, like maybe it was the offensive coordinator. There's a lot of variables. At some point, Eberflus will be fired because he's lost the team. There's reports of people like vets going up to him saying they want Caleb Williams benched. He's, I think if Caleb has another horrendous game, he will bench him. And then I think the owners turn on him. Like, now you're messing with our future. So, you got to go.
Right.
So I think Eberflus will be out. That'll be 4. Jacksonville Jaguars, Doug Peterson. There's no excuse for the 2-7 start. I thought they were a dark horse team in the NFL.
For sure.
They look terrible. Trevor Lawrence is not growing as a quarterback. They have a ton of weapons. They just look terrible. He'll be gone. 5. New York Giants, Brian Daboll.
Done.
You lost to the fucking Panthers.
You're done.
You're gone. Again, not as much his fault. Danny Dimes, he did not decide to resign. It's Joe Shane's fault. I said it all offseason when they had the hard knocks. He's the worst fucking GM I've ever seen. I think both of them get cleaned out.
Because his son's a better GM, right?
Who?
The GM of the Giants.
Oh, because he wanted Jaden Daniels? Right. Yeah. I mean, they had no chance at that anyway. But, look, Malik Neighbors looks great. They fucked up letting Saquon walk, and the owner walked in and said very clearly, if Saquon goes to the Eagles, I'm going to be very upset. And he's like, and then you see him like feet up on the desk calling Saquon, and he's like, hey, bud, like, yeah, go shop other offers like an arrogant moron and come back after. Why would he come back after? They gave him a better deal. He's gone. That's how this works.
Saquon hasn't lost a step, dude.
Saquon looks unreal. God. And that team is shitting on everybody. Like, yeah, dude, they're going to win the division. You guys are in the doghouse. Yeah, you're out. Take Daboll with you. That'll be a new coaching hire. And then I think the only questionable is Vegas with Antonio Pierce.
What about Stefanski?
No, I think Stefanski.
You think he's okay?
Yeah. That's okay. Everyone knows it's not his fault. He has 2 Coach of the Year awards since he left us.
True.
That team is so fucked with that Deshaun Watson situation.
So fucked.
And Jameis Winston now, like, it's
so
just
fucked.
bad. He's a very good coach. I don't hope he gets fired because I like him and we're not hiring, so it's no good, him coming back. Unless the owner's crazy, he should not get fired. But Antonio Pierce is the questionable one because he just got hired, but Tom Brady now being a minority owner, a lot of rumors are Bill Belichick going to coach. So if you can get Bill Belichick, you fire Antonio Pierce and bring on the greatest coach of all time.
Who's the coach of Cincinnati?
Zach Taylor.
No, we're not losing.
He's a questionable one for me. I think he should be fired, but I was talking to a friend who's a very big Bengals fan, Zach. And he was saying the history of the team, they just don't fire coaches. Like Marvin Lewis was a middle of the road coach. They kept him for like 15 years. He was the longest tenured coach in the NFL. Huh. They never fired him. He missed the playoffs most of the time with Andy Dalton. Made the playoffs like a few times. This team is competitive, but I think it's the coach that's stopping them from winning. There's no excuse for how bad they look sometimes. So I think they should be fired, but apparently history says they won't fire him. He would be another one. If we were hiring, I would love to get.
They're just gonna ride it out and watch Joe Burrow go from like superstar.
Yeah,
to, like,
right.
Weird,
their
like,
window.
kinda good
Garage
guy.
sale, like
They were supposed to be the rival to the Chiefs, like the
Forever.
answer.
yeah.
Yeah.
The only
Patrick-
team
Patrick
that could
and Joe,
beat
Patrick
them.
and Joe. Yeah.
The only time Pat hasn't made it to the Super Bowl is because he lost to the Bengals.
Yeah.
That's how fucking nasty.
And
his
Burrow has
fucking-
none of that sizzle anymore.
Burrow's still nasty, dude.
I mean, he gets me my fantasy numbers and everything.
He
but,
lit
like,
the league on fire last week with
Yeah.
Jamar Chase. The defense is atrocious. The offensive line, the entire time Burrow's been there, has been atrocious. It's crazy that they can't get it back together. Like,
but like
they're
last
a
week, I still
mess.
like. It's just Jamar Chase show though.
Yeah.
It's just one of those wide receivers.
Yeah.
You just throw it to him.
It's like a
He
Jefferson.
makes it pretty easy.
That's what it would look like if we had a fucking stud quarterback.
Yeah.
Like JJ's watching that, like, God damn it, that was my college quarterback. If I was on that team, I'm doing that. You know, like
Bounce
that's
back
what's
shirt.
sad is like how good it could be
Never
if
ends.
we have a legit quarterback, because that's what JJ should be putting up. You know, I feel bad we're kind of stifling his career numbers.
No.
Right now, he's not balling. And then the coaching carousel of who will be available. We went over it briefly before. Offensive coordinator for the Lions, Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
It's really his pick. Pick your job. He's the top guy right now.
Flores.
Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Texans, last year was supposed to get a job. He said no last minute because it was like the Titans or something was available. So he'll get a job if he wants it. Aaron Glenn, the DC of the Lions, which I love, destroy their team. Both of them will be gone. Bill Belichick, again, he gets to pick his job, but I don't think everyone will be offering. Like, I don't think the Saints would offer, you know.
Why is it just not a reality that Bill Belichick's just not done? Like, he's on Monday
Yep.
Night Football with
He just
Peyton
wants too
and
much
Eli.
control. Like, he wants everything.
Right, but I see a world where he doesn't step on a coaching field ever again.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Oh, no. He said he wants to coach. I think he still has that chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, he
like,
was
I
in
got stuff to
conversation with
prove.
Barstool and stuff, and they couldn't get him to just settle on it.
Yeah.
He wants to prove his expertise
Yeah.
in these limelight situations.
Brady
to
left
then-
and won, and then he got kind of dishonored by being like, oh, you know, you can quit. He wants to prove Kraft wrong. He wants to prove everyone wrong.
It's sad when you find a guy who's a living legend who needs to prove it again.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
like, dude.
He obviously needs to pick the right franchise to do it with.
Exactly.
I don't think it's a smart move for him to go back.
I don't
I think
either.
it's going to be a failed approach.
I don't
Yeah.
either.
Because you get older, you just don't have the steam.
He's not in touch with the game. He's
How
not an
that
offensive
edge-
guy. He's a defensive guy in a league that doesn't allow defense, you know? So it's tough for him, but he's very critical of Gerard Mayo over in New England. Like, he's
Yeah.
been critical of moves he's made, and it's like, dude, why are you still talking about? It's like somebody dating your ex, and you're like, I know he's not treating her right. It's like,
Yeah.
leave it
Shut the
alone.
fuck
It's
up.
embarrassing.
I would hate to have to be the franchise that obviously if they would come like if the Vikings needed a coach like this, you bring him in, which is he's going to be kind of coach GM, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it gets your spirits so high,
Mhm.
but he's aged. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna get weird for that franchise. And if he goes to the Raiders, I think it becomes
It's
I don't-
awkward.
huge
It's
up in
weird.
smoke, weird.
I don't
messy
think,
situation
again, because of his ego, I don't think he'll go work for Tom Brady. I think that's kind of the
Good.
fuck you move.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, bro.
I think that's the fuck you move that he doesn't want, is like, ooh, everybody's
Brady
saying
had to
like
bring me
Brady's your
in.
boss.
Yeah,
Like, that's rough.
yeah.
Also, they're not good, and
Mhm.
they don't have a lot to look forward to on
Because
their
they
team.
didn't go out on great terms, right?
Brady and him.
Yeah.
I mean, they kind of hashed
fine.
things out at the Brady roast.
Yeah.
Everyone was like, okay, this
But
is
they
better
still
than they
shipped him
think.
out of town.
Yeah, I mean,
And
Robert
he
Kraft
obviously
did,
was
yeah.
in a back room where he's like, "We got to let him go."
Yeah, and it's winning without Brady, because if you win under Brady's ownership,
Right.
it's another ring for
It's-
Brady, you know?
exactly.
So I think he goes back to his roots. He came up under Bill Parcells with the Giants. I think that's the no-brainer call. He goes and he runs the Giants because they're going to be firing Joe Shane. Here's the whole fucking franchise. Fix this because this is embarrassing. I think that's where he goes.
And that's a great shot if he does well to be a thorn in the side of the Patriots.
Yeah.
yeah,
Who's
exactly.
right
Yeah.
next door. And just
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're an East Coast team. You get that rivalry of Boston, New York. Like, that'll be so great for
He
the
can
game.
handle the New York media too.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He's
Yeah,
not going to talk to them.
Exactly.
Next question.
Yeah.
Like,
And you don't
ooh.
even have to be good. As
Which
a
is
Giants
hilarious that he's
You
doing
just have to be
everything
better
in
than what
the-
they did.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's hilarious that he's doing like every Monday Night Football broadcast
He's
now.
so good. He's
Yeah.
so charismatic all of a sudden. He's
Yeah.
funny, but he gets the fucking game. Him and Peyton were talking about something, and he like knew the Josh Allen breakdown because he was obviously has strategized against him for years, and like was calling out exactly what Josh Allen was going to do. And Peyton was like, throw it away. And he's like, nope. He's about to go crossbody back over the field. Boom. Did exactly what he did. And you're like, this guy's still got it. He's
Huh.
so sharp and locked in. So yeah.
to a fault.
Yeah.
I wish you could just stay on Monday Night Football. That's great. I
Yeah.
love it.
It'd be great. But
He's gone.
these guys are competitors. That's
Yeah.
all he's known his whole life is locked in, reading stuff. And now he's divorced. So like more time to spend. I'm sure that probably ruined his marriage. And now he's got the time for it. Why not? He loves being in those draft rooms. I want to see Bill Belichick back on the sideline again. So that would be great if he was in New York.
I like him as a Giants coach. That makes a
Yeah,
lot of sense.
I think
does
it
make
makes
a
a
lot
lot
of
of sense. Yeah, that's
So,
the-
like, I guess
that's the
we
look.
State
talking
of the
about the
Union.
carousel though with Flores. Like,
He'll be a
where would
name.
he land if he landed, and what do we need to worry about?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Saints go back-to-back defensive head coaches because Dennis Allen was a defensive guy.
And
The
what do
other
we have to
teams?
tell a guy like this? You have to be like,
Super
Chicago.
Bowl. Super
Chicago
Bowl.
could try to fuck us and go get a defensive guy from us and weaken us, but they could also take somebody from the Lions. Jacksonville, no. I don't
Well,
think he
that's
gets hired this year. I think it's another year. He's got to stick around.
We have to
because
say
he's
we'll do
still in the
anything to get you a
lawsuit.
Super Bowl.
yeah, I think you give him his first like 3 picks in the draft. Say like,
Yeah.
and just stack
Pick,
our D,
pick whatever you want.
which we do need to
Well,
do.
Quessy
anyway.
will be like, I'm going to spend money. You tell me who you want. They know how valuable he is. But
Right.
because of the Rooney rule, he will be interviewed by fucking everyone, and we will be gripping our seat, shitting ourselves scared. I think the lawsuit still has a bad taste in a lot of owners' mouths. I don't think he'll be hired this year. But if there's, I don't know a
sucks.
lot of other guys who could take a job right
It
now.
sucks because it feels like the Kirk thing last year, which again I think we're all happy what went down, but we were always just
Completely
gripping like
confident.
we're
Yeah.
like we got it, and then
It's because of
shit just
LJ's
gets, like,
dad
fucked
who
like that.
guaranteed us.
Yeah.
Guaranteed it.
Guaranteed it. He's
Guaranteed
like,
it.
I'm
Inside source.
talking to people. I got my ear to the ground. He's staying.
Report from the Heartland
Like
failed.
a week later,
Except we
they're like,
all
he's
actually
gone.
wanted Kirk to go.
We
Yeah,
did.
secretly.
We did.
Secretly.
We did.
Yeah.
We did.
This feels like losing Flores would be like losing like Tomlin,
Yeah.
where
Yes,
he could
exactly.
go on.
I've
to
dealt with
run
this before.
A
Yeah.
generational franchise.
Yeah.
And it would hurt forever.
Right.
He could maybe be like the Cowboys coach.
Oh, if he ends up winning, yeah, exactly. If he
Right.
goes and
Fuck.
coaches the
perfect
fucking
identity for
Cowboys
that.
Yeah.
and wins a Super Bowl, that would just kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or
I
Bears.
don't want to see that. Bears will really hurt.
and just
That would hurt the
runs
most.
Us
If
forever.
he and Caleb Williams ended up being like the unit that just fucked up, like
Yeah.
I
you would
I don't know
become a
what to
Bears
do.
fan within the next
No,
decade.
there's not a chance in hell. I hate the Bears. I don't even want Caleb Williams to succeed. I just like the hatred, like how we're so quick to leap down someone's throat. And it's like, dude, there's no offensive line. The wide receivers look like shit. DJ Moore has quit on that team.
I know.
And the
he's got
coaching
paid.
is awful. Like,
He
it's a
deserves
bad situation.
like literally 0% of the reason the Bears suck.
it's the
He's
first
good.
year
He's
in a
good.
shitty
0%.
system.
He literally deserves 0%.
5%. There's some throws I've seen that I'm like, you could have hit that guy, but that doesn't change the whole game.
Just wait. When we have
Yeah.
JJ come next
That's
year,
the
dude,
thing.
we're
I'm
gonna
also
have
getting
to
ahead of
live
that.
through a young quarterback.
Yeah,
It's not
there's gonna be
great.
bad games
Yeah.
where we're like, that's on Kevin O'Connell or that's on a receiver for quitting on a route. Like DJ Moore left the field in the middle of a play. You're gonna blame Caleb for that? Get the fuck out of here. You got paid this offseason.
Big time.
Stop it. You can't act like that. Like you're one of the veterans on the team. You fucking stand there. I don't care if you don't get thrown
and your
to all game.
quarterback was finding a way through that play. That if you're smart enough, DJ Moore could have found himself a nice pocket.
He's been sacked second most in the history of the NFL behind David Carr, who was on the expansion Texans their first year, and they had nobody, and he got sacked like an obscene amount of times.
Well,
The second most to that, which shouldn't even count, Caleb's been sacked more than anybody in the history of the NFL through 10 weeks. The guy's getting hit non-stop. He got hit
I do
13
love, though,
times.
that the pressure's mounting on him, and to be able, we're gonna see him cry for sure.
Yeah.
Because you could see. I thought last time this last presser was like, you could just feel it in his voice. He was about ready.
Because
to
how
crack.
mad would you be if everyone was like just overlooking stuff like that, and you're like, you can't say my coaching is terrible. You can't say my receivers are quitting on me. And you can't say your offensive line is horrible. You have to be like, I'm the leader of this franchise. Like, yeah, that's on me. Like,
He's gonna cry.
Fuck, man.
I guarantee it by the end of the season.
This is when
some
wives
point in
and dads get on Twitter and they're like, "This team sucks. It's not my son's fault." You know.
to see a Bears quarterback cry is gonna be beautiful.
I mean, he put the target on his back with the stupid punter thing before the season, where he like called his punter or like tweeted to him and was like, "You're not going to be kicking much this year."
Yeah.
And they just pulled up the stats, and there's more punt yards than passing yards.
Yeah,
It's like,
Yeah.
why'd
Yeah.
you do
Not
this?
great. Not
Why'd
great.
you put this on yourself? Like, you're not. You went from USC, which is one of the most prestigious college programs in the country. Now you're on the Bears, who suck and have the worst quarterback record in the history of the
USC
NFL.
sucked when he was there.
Yes.
I don't know why
Exactly.
people don't forget that.
Well,
It's
yeah.
like when Bronny James, everyone was like, Bronny James is.
Yeah.
He was never.
He wasn't good in college.
No.
He didn't start.
No.
So because I've been trying to become a USC or UCLA fan
No, UCLA sucks.
the entire decade
Not
that
for
I've lived
basketball.
around here. And it's been difficult
Uh-huh.
to like realize that they do breed superstars around this place,
Yeah.
but the teams kind of just flounder.
Yeah, I mean, since the early 2000s, they're not dominant teams. You
Right.
know,
They're
But-
not fun to watch.
No, this year is definitely not fun.
I'm
to
trying.
watch. But
Pretty awful.
college football is in a crazy place. I don't know what the fuck is going on. We might get Army and Navy in the playoffs. What? Like, Army, Navy? What are we talking about
Yeah.
here? They don't
Yeah.
throw. They only run. Every single play is running. What the hell is going on?
And if we're not careful,
can't
they
wait.
might have another job to do. So they might not.
Might have to take off mid-game.
Oregon sitting back being like, God, I hope we kind of have to do something.
All right, that's all I got.
Cool.
Good stuff.
This is great. Vikings
Yeah.
banter. We're giving you a little bit more of inside scoop of what Luke thinks is happening around the league every week. So you can come to us for a lot of the knowledge that
Yep.
maybe we've jumped over. But love you all. God bless. Skol. And Trump 2024. God bless y'all.
Oh my God.